We had finished the house just enough to get a certificate of occupancy, and we were ecstatic that afternoon when the inspector came and said, "Looks good, everything's legal, the house is finished. Let me take that inspection card and sign off your final inspection as completed." He handed us that card, and we were ecstatic that day, just jumping for joy. And then we looked over to our side, and we knew this ADU, we needed to just be determined, finish it, and use the rest of our quite drained energy from the past couple years to complete it. So the ADU stood with siding on, all framed, roofing on, but it was just a bare shell on the inside. No insulation, no utilities, and certainly no things like drywall. We then used what we had learned from doing all these portions of the build in the main house to improve how we did the work in the ADU. That was a huge benefit of building the main house first, of stopping where we did and focusing on one of the buildings. Now, a lot of you probably won't be building two buildings at once, but still, the lesson can be learned that pay attention as you go through each stage. As you're starting off a stage, let's say preparing for installing utilities, take note of the lessons you learn when you realize that this way of running the wire through the joist bays or through the walls, it just isn't effective, and you find a better way. Make sure that you tell everybody else on the build who is playing a key part what you've learned and just build on your improvements. Also, of course, learn from the people who are doing it professionally, but if you don't have the money to hire them, which that's kind of one of the things, money is one of the things that spurs people on to do their own builds, then pay very close attention to the lessons you learn. Another thing was that having a small building like an ADU, which is limited in our jurisdiction to 1,200 square feet, it just precludes the ability to make mistakes. For instance, the ADU is one story. Our main house is two stories, so of course it has a stairwell. We didn't have to worry about the ins and outs of building stairs and railings, so that made it easier to do. Now, at this point, because we'd framed the ADU, it was too late for us to make the walls plumb level square, so we were stuck with what we had at that point. However, I knew about the drywall shim, the cardboard shim trick, and the planing of the walls. So I just got to it. I just pulled a level across the walls to make sure that I knew where the walls were not flush with each other, and then just started planing and started shimming. And it didn't take me nearly as long, like per length of wall, that it did in the main house. One, because I was motivated, I just didn't have as much wall surface area to cover, but two, because I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was looking for. So that's, again, learning your lessons and making the best of what you got and just improving as you go. Ultimately, even with the lessons we learned and working faster, being able to prepare better for the contractors we hired, so the insulation contractor and the drywall contractor, we still had to buy a permit extension. Two buildings was just too much for us to finish in 2 years, and that's okay. So that's something I would talk with the jurisdiction's building department about, is what is their process for getting permit extensions? Is it difficult? How much does it cost? What's the process, the paperwork you need to be prepared to submit if you do request a permit extension? Those sorts of questions. I would prepare for the chance that you need to get one, and then be happy if you don't need to get one. All right, so that is really a summary of all the steps from drying in the ADU to getting the finishes done. Basically, learn your lessons and then just build on your momentum. Don't be down on yourself either. I got down on myself hard several times through the build. Give yourself grace and have a good time. It's going to be draining, but enjoy the company you have with the people you're building with. Go at a pace where you can finish the build, where you can get the certificate of occupancy. So that's going to spur you on to go faster than you might otherwise. but also go at a pace you can sustain. This is a long distance race, it's not a sprint. That metaphor, which is used quite often nowadays, is very true for this building a house project. Make sure you give yourself grace for when you find out you do things not at the quality you expect of yourself, and enjoy your life ultimately through this. This is a big milestone in your life. Make sure that you enjoy the process. I did for the most part, although, like I said, there were some times when I did not. And that was all because of my attitude, ultimately. All right, so those are my points for completing the ADU at that point. A handful of months later, we got our certificate of occupancy for that. My mother in law was able to move into her house, and we were done building, except for things like door and window trim, base molding, some basic things like that. The final video, the 7th video in this series, I'm just going to summarize the big points that I've learned. Would I do it again? What are my thoughts? Spoiler alert, yes and no. So in some ways, yes, I look forward to if I get a chance to do it again. In other ways, no, not at all. So I'll go into more of that in the next video. I will see you there.